Hello, welcome to another video. Now I'm going to try and keep this short and sweet. Today I'm going to go through, is university worth going to if you're an actor? Now I have done a video kind of like this, which I relate drama schools to university and compare them. So if you haven't seen that one, check it out. But for this one, I'm just going to list the pros and cons of what I personally feel is good and bad about university, and whether you want to pursue acting at university. So here are the pros for this list. The first one is learning different aspects of the industry. So I personally studied performance because I didn't really know what I wanted to go into within the industry. I didn't really have prior knowledge or understanding how you could. So going to university allowed me to explore different avenues and venues whilst training and to really discover what I wanted to do. And by the end of it, I would say roughly my second/third year, I decided that I wanted to get into and focus in voiceover and screen acting, which is now what I predominantly focus in, as well as motion capture as well, performance capture. But yeah, without this, I may have not found those specific avenues of what I wanted to pursue, or maybe not even at that time. The second one is discovering and trying new techniques. Now this is obviously specific to acting. Whilst at university, I was able to explore and try so many different techniques and methods within acting, or just understanding the practice overall. It really helped me and allowed me to learn it, try it in a variety of different ways. Predominantly was in a theatrical aspect. Yeah, just trialing and error, all these different things, and learning where it came from and how these styles and techniques got discovered and made, and putting them into my own performances, whether it was through something that was already written or we devised ourselves. This was a great experience to learn and trial, as I said, many different things. And I will say, things that I've learned at university, I 100% put them into my acting now. When I'm approaching a role, for example, there's a variety of different methods I will do, and it's always nice to know that I have them in, what's the phrase called? Have them in my back pocket if I need them. Whether, some type of technique isn't working whilst I'm on set, I can try a different one. So it's really nice to know a background of different disciplines that I can always refer to if I need to. And I'm sure I probably wouldn't have learnt this if I didn't go to university, unless I went to specific acting classes and drama classes and techniques and things, and paid extra for that specifically on all those different classes. Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't have probably seeked them out myself. The next one is making mistakes and failing. This one is such a vital thing to learn whilst you're in training. To be honest, it doesn't matter where you are. Being able to make mistakes and fails are so key on learning how to improve and to understand what you would change and understand why it didn't work, why you failed at it. Being at university really just helped you do this. There's many times that I fell flat on my arse. Not literally, but within performance-wise, yeah, there's definitely ones that I will still remember and still hold on to, knowing that I embarrassed myself for whatever reason but they were so key for me to get to the stage where I am. Especially with screen acting, I learned a lot of it being a part of student projects whilst at uni. So without that, I probably wouldn't have been involved in so many of the screen projects, and wouldn't have learned whilst on set of how OTT I was being, because obviously theatre trained, and learning the subtleties and nuances of screen acting. So that was a vital thing for me to learn, and something that I really do appreciate that I done when I was training. And just being out of the eye or out of the industry and not having things, hopefully not always on record, I think that's a good thing to know, that yeah, those things hopefully aren't going to haunt you as much as it might feel. You can, do it in a safe space. That's so vital. The next one, which is a pro, is meeting like-minded people, or just new people in general. As you probably know, university is the time to meet new people. It's probably the first time that you are moving away from home, you're living alone, you're independent, and you have to do things for yourself. So you are put in that situation that you have to meet new people, whether they're in your halls, your house, and they're your flatmates, or even just your classmates in general. You have to meet new people. And I think this is so vital, not just in the sense of pursuing acting personally. I think it's just such a key thing to learn as a human being. You know, we all come from different places, different backgrounds. We've all had different upbringings, and it's such a vital thing to have an open mind and learn new perspectives from other people. Whether you agree or don't agree, it's so important to meet new people. And I feel like this is such an important thing because it helps you grow as a person as well. But being in classes and meeting hopefully like-minded people, it will hopefully fuel your passion even more, make you feel more encouraged and just more ready to get going into the industry that you would like to. Because for me, when I was kind of growing up, no one really wanted to be an actor. I guess I kind of wanted to get into it a bit later. Everyone wanted to stay at home. You know, people have different choices. So it was really nice to meet other creatives, even if it's in different type of aspects of the industry. It was just so nice to meet people. And as they say, the cliche of, you know, when you go to university, you're fresh, you're 18, and you just have a bit of fun. It is really good for that social aspect. But I will say, when it's coming to like your second year, third year, it's best to knuckle down, okay? Don't take it for granted. You are there for university, so don't go crazy. I will give you that. Yeah, just don't get caught up into it too much when it's the important moments to focus, okay? I sound like a parent, don't I? But it is true. It is very true, because you are there for the grade in the course. And my final pointer for being a pro thing of going to university is becoming independent. So I personally went to university when I was 18, literally just turned, and it was the first time I've lived away from my parents. So I went to university that was a couple hours away from home so I could live on campus and just get a bit of freedom essentially. You know, I wanted to be on my own and yeah, I just wanted to feel more adult essentially. And I honestly gained so much from this, from studying away from home and going to university. It allowed me to become more independent, more self-sufficient. Of course, yes, I still relied on my parents. I won't ever deny that. They were always there for me when I needed them. But just the day-to-days, doing things on your own is such a vital thing of feeling more like an adult or just becoming more of who you are as an individual. Is such a vital point, and it was for me anyway, such a pivotal moment of me becoming essentially who I am today. You know, the things that I'd done at university or just the experience and time I spent away from home being in a different city, because I never lived anywhere before, it really did help mold me into the person I am today, and I am so thankful and grateful for that experience because I personally think that's been the biggest thing I've taken away from it. I have become more an adult, but essentially just more me. I've flourished, as they say. I think I did. I was still immature and young, don't get me wrong, but I still became more of me and, you know, who I truly thought I was. Or became. I don't know. You get what I mean, hopefully. Now, here are the cons, but again, these are all my opinion. So the first one is it doesn't give you a backup plan in a different field. Now, hear me out. I found this one out too late before, you know, until after I graduated. I was so happy, hit third year, I was like, yes, I'm about to graduate in acting, I'm going to pursue it in the industry. And then I got asked the question, but what's your plan B? And I was like, I have not thought about plan B. Why would I? I only have a plan A, that is it. But from talking about it and understanding that meaning is I never considered having a plan B in a different subject or a different pathway of career that essentially could help support me. So I never considered going to university in a second discipline to help that be the thing that will help fund my creative industry, becoming an actor. I never considered that. I didn't think, oh yeah, I should probably think of something that might actually support me financially day to day when I am pursuing this, because obviously yes, it's an unrealistic and it is a hard thing to get into and to make a living off. So I never really grasped this concept, and I wish it was something that I did consider when I was younger, that essentially, for example, I could have, I don't know, I don't really have many skills. other than acting. But one other thing I did consider when I was at college, for example, is getting into more sports aspect, whether it was fitness or specific extreme sports and things like that. So, for example, I could have pursued that, got qualification and my training and education in that, and supported my acting on the side with classes, workshops, things like that, learnt it separately. I just never thought of that avenue. So I do think this is quite a vital thing to consider if there is another discipline that you're also passionate or enjoy or are good at. Maybe you could go to university for that if it has a better prospect in the long term for you and of course works for you, and you pursue your acting or creative avenue separately. But yeah, I think it's something to consider if you are considering a creative industry path in education. And like this, it's weighing up which one has the pros and cons and which ones ultimately work to you. But it's just something to consider. I never thought of that when I was 18 and before I went to university. So yeah. The next one is the overall focus on grade levels rather than performance development. Now, I will say take this with a pinch of salt. This is just how I felt or how I reflect personally with my mindset with university. I mainly pursued theatre, have since college, and for me it felt like things were more focused on about the grade you got rather than the actual performance and what you got out of it. This may slightly come from my own personal mindset of essentially wanting to get better grades than my brother. I'm not gonna lie, I did think that for a little while, but it was always about the highest grade and how you can hit that, but I never really reflected on my performance, hence the thing that I'm doing it for. Like I said in my previous video, when I reflect on it now, maybe I needed a gap year after college because I was already feeling kind of frustrated with this point anyway at that time. So bouncing straight into university probably wasn't the best thing overall because I kind of just spent my first year enjoying being 18 and going out. But yeah, I feel like I focus way too much on the grade and not about my abilities in acting. And I definitely realised this a little bit too late in my personal opinion. Or maybe it was just my mindset, or what's the word? My professional kind of mindset. It might be that it wasn't quite developed yet. Or just, yeah, my focus just wasn't quite right. But I do feel like a lot of universities, of course, they're more focused not as much on the practical aspects, it's more on the written. And of course, yeah, I understand that. I think that's the biggest difference between drama schools and university. But not all universities are like that. I recommend looking at the breakdown of the courses before you go into it and seeing the percentage of what's more important, because yeah, I felt like mine was a bit too academic for me personally. This was before I realised I was dyslexic, so I did struggle with this aspect quite a bit, and yeah, just got too knuckled down and disheartened about the grades rather than the actual techniques and skills that I'm building up as an actor that would be the thing that helps me within the industry. But of course, if you do want to go into teaching and pursuing your qualifications is even further after university, yes, of course, grades are of course essential, and yeah, you don't want to barely pass. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying I do think it's important to have the mindset of it's also about the skills that you are building up as a performer, which I didn't. In fact, I did it too late. The next one is connections. Granted, as I said, I didn't go to drama school, so this is the biggest difference I personally felt at the time that was different in experiences to other people I knew. Experience that I had was when I was coming up to graduating, or in my third year, when I was seeking representation, it was quite obvious the fact that universities weren't considered as a priority or a good thing. I wasn't exactly the most wanted, essentially. So we did have a showcase at the end of our third year, and we'd done it in London as well. We had performances to go with. I think we'd done a collaboration with another university, and yeah, we had a showcase and we invited agents. I invited too many probably, but barely anyone turned up. And of course, You know, that's not down it to being at university, but it's one factor. Barely any turned up, or they said that they couldn't, or they were more going to other showcases. And the ones that did meet, they just weren't really impressed, or just didn't seem keen on the fact that I trained at university. Even ones that I spoke to and got in contact, not including the showcase. Yeah, they just didn't seem too impressed, and they would always ask, what drama school did you train at? What drama school? When I say no, university, yeah, I think it just became quite obvious for me that it just didn't seem what they want. Especially when you're about to graduate, and of course there's so many people graduating, there's so many students, and they've got so many people to pick from. It is oversaturated, and I do believe that drama school students seem to be better performers than ones that come from university. And I think that's a horrible mindset, and hopefully, I do really hope that this has changed since I've graduated. Like, I graduated 2016, and I feel like now that it's a lot more inclusive in the industry in all different aspects, I do hope that this is one thing that has kind of chilled out a bit, and companies and agencies and you name it are seeing performers for their skill and their performance rather than where they trained, because that is what it comes down to. Of course, getting into a drama school is an amazing accomplishment, but it doesn't mean that they're going to be 10 times better than someone from another company. You never know. You need to see the performer to see their skill. That's what I'm trying to say. There's no discredit to either. God, I'm going on a tangent here. But yeah, I'm just saying that I do feel like this aspect made it a lot harder for me to break into the industry, and I had to go a bit of a longer route to try and prove or get to showcase my skill and to be considered for specific things. Predominantly an agent. That is where it came down to. The next one is Spotlight. Of course, not everyone needs to get on Spotlight, but if you are pursuing acting, this is quite a vital thing, or an essential that a lot of performers are pursuing to get onto. And it does continue from my last point, with some agents not considering universities as a decent credit, essentially. When I was applying for Spotlight, a lot of universities weren't considered as legit, or I can't think of the right word, creditable training facilities. Yeah, a lot of the universities weren't considered in that breakdown, and my university, of course, wasn't on that. So I had to work a bit harder, I personally say, or it just took a longer route of me eventually getting on Spotlight, because you can go for a graduate Spotlight page, and yeah, I couldn't go really that avenue straight away with being under university. So for me at the time, obviously Spotlight has changed over the years, but I had to make sure that I had at least 5 credits under my name and listed on IMDb, and they had to be a speaking role. I think it took me like a year or 2 to build this up personally. So I really tried to make sure that I had more than required what was requested on Spotlight. Yeah, I tend to go a bit overboard. I wanted to really make sure that I got accepted. Yeah, I made sure. I think I had a couple more, but it was the just in case some of them wouldn't fall under the criteria of them accepting it as a official credit, essentially. Or an industry credit, as you could say. But like I said, Spotlight has changed massively since 6-7 years ago, since I graduated. So I do have a look at what they require now, because it might have changed, and hopefully it has. I believe they have made it a lot more accessible for people to get accepted, and it's not as cutthroat and black and white of you have to get this or you won't get in. I think there's things that are a lot more lenient, and yeah, have a little look. This could be a pro now for you if you go to, depending on what university you go to, but you can have a little look on their breakdown of which ones they consider as viable training or not, and whether it links up to the place that you want to go for university. The next one, which is kind of contradicting one of my pros, is passion and focus from other students. Again, take this one with a pinch of salt. Every experience is going to be so different. This is just mine. But I did find that when it started to come to that vital point near, you know, the end of second year, third year, that you should be knuckling down and, you know, your course is the sole focus, some people were distracted. And it being a performance course, and I'm pretty sure nearly every single one of my performances were group based. If you had a group that wasn't as focused, obviously this affects your overall experience and outcome in the performance. I enjoyed all of my stuff, but there's of course things that I wish that I could have changed, or just wish that other people were as driven as me. That may sound very selfish, yes, but you know, it can be hard to get the best out of your experience when obviously other people turning up late, missing things, or just don't really care. It can make it a little bit harder, and it can dampen your experience just a bit. So of course this is something you can't control, but I do think it's very important, which I did get advice from other people, especially when you're doing group work and say you're devising pieces for yourself. Sometimes it's not always best to go with your friends, but to go with the right people for your performance and your future. It's kind of brutal, but I'm saying this in the nicest way of, you know, you don't want to be mucking around and wasting your time. You want to get the best performance and learn and create the best that you can, rather than, you know, treating it like you could just hang out at the end of the day. Yeah. And that's what I mean when it's very different with drama school. I feel like, or the expectation is that people at drama school know what they want to do and they're a lot more driven and focused. And I guess also the age range is a little bit different. Maybe, I don't know. But as they say, the grass is always greener on the other side. So for all I know, everyone at drama school doesn't give a rat's ass either. So I'm just saying it's from my experience. Just take that one with a pinch of salt. But it's just something to consider. And my final one for the negatives is the cost. Yes, for most of us, as a creative, no matter where you study, we are probably never going to pay that full amount back. Like, if we're being honest. Yeah, we're probably not going to pay that big ass debt unless we become really minted. But it is something to consider. I never really considered the fact of how much I would owe. And yes, you don't have to pay this all back in one hit and, you know, you go bankrupt the moment you graduate. But it really set in. So after you graduate, you get this lovely letter which states how much you owe the government and what interest you also have to pay over the years if you don't pay it back. And I think per year mine was like £9,000 at the time. Again, I don't know what it's like these days. Yeah, I just never really considered how much money it really is to go to university. And if this isn't something for you, why pay all that money for an experience that you won't enjoy or don't benefit from? Because let's be honest, you don't have to go to university or drama school to become an actor. There's so many people in the industry, and really well-known people in the industry, that didn't train. They just got into it because they are naturally quite gifted, or, you know, all these million different things, or they are just connected. But it's not such a vital thing to do to become an actor, but it is a massive thing that can help benefit. What I'm saying is, it's a lot of money for you to have to owe if you are not going to make the most out of your uni experience. Whether you're just messing around or going out every night, just move to a new city and do that and have a job that supports that. You know, it's a lot of money. So it is something I think people should consider a little bit more. Or even if you do try university and it's not for you, you don't have to stick it out. You can drop out. And it sounds like a cliche of like a bad thing, but if it's not for you, you don't have to stay. I knew people who done that on my course, and they were like, no, because I know that I want to do this or that, or a different avenue. That's fine. There's no harm experiencing it. Yeah, I just don't see the point of doing those whole 3 years if you know for a fact that you don't care about the subject that you're doing or things like that. It's just a waste of money. Yeah, you don't want that debt over you for pretty much the rest of your life if it wasn't worth it. It's something to consider. I don't think I'm ever going to pay mine back. I think mine is, yeah, it's a lot of money. There's so many other alternative routes to become an actor or to train in acting. Of course, yes, a lot of it is training which relates to money. But if you already know specifically what you'd like to get into, just consider the differences of the cost and what's best for you. So that is all my pointers. And ultimately, as I mentioned, everyone's experiences are their own. And I just want to reiterate that this is my own opinion and my own experience and what I feel when I reflect on my time whilst at university. I do not regret it. that is definitely something I don't. And to be honest, I don't really regret any of my choices. But there's of course things that you can learn from it and reflect. And hopefully maybe some of these pointers have helped you if you are debating whether you want to go, or just helped you in considering this step, essentially. Yeah, you don't need to go to university or drama school to become an actor. It's just a great avenue and opportunity to go to train in a variety of things, or specifically specialise in an area for you to train and learn as much as you can within that time frame, and then hopefully hit the ground running into the industry and, you know, get going. So yeah, if you don't want to learn, don't go. But if you are ready to research and learn and spend time doing homework, of course it is a great thing to do. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed, and I'd love to hear your experiences if you went to university or not, what you think about it, and just curious. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Take care.